Okay, today we're going to be talking about using home resin printers for making what was normally the wire, protecting the wire cage around the light on the Time Machine console. This one that you're looking at here, right here, is in fact 3D printed on this Sonic Mini 8K. And here's what it looked like before it got painted. Now it has to be printed. They print upside down. We'll go through this with supports, and you're going to see that here as soon as I take all this apart. Let's move back to a little bit bigger picture. And take the cover off this printer because the resin stinks. So we normally like to keep it covered. And that's also why I do all the printing out here in the shop. And that's also why I usually only use this resin printer in the summer, because it has to be warm in order for the resin to work right. I think let's go mobile with the camera here for a second. See down in the vat, see all that gray stuff? That's the resin. As you can see, it's quite low. There's the max fill line. And here are the parts. I could only fit 2 of these cages on this build plate. Ooh, now I got some on my fingers. It's toxic. You don't want to get it on your hands. You wear gloves, and I've got a pair of gloves over there. I'm going to put on disposable gloves in a second. At any rate, there's a strong UV light source down in the base of the unit. Underneath this vat, there's a video screen, and it projects images of what they want exposed. This is UV curable resin. So this build plate comes all the way down. The UV light turns on, the screen displays a pattern of whatever it's doing. That cures the layers on there, and as it builds, this raises up and up and up. That's how it works. Smelly, messy, toxic, does a fantastic job. No layer lines. The only cleanup that you have to do, besides on the finished part, is to remove the supports. Now there's a lot of cleanup before you get to the finished part, and that's what I thought I'd show you right now. I'm going to get these 2 parts out of the way, because we're going to want to use these later to compare them to wire, FDM printing, and maybe even metal printing. So, okay, I think I better put my gloves on. Like I say, these are the cheapest disposable gloves you can find, and you want to use those because you're going to be throwing away a lot of stuff. Now anything the resin gets on, whether it's these gloves, or whether it's a paper towel, which I got a bunch of back here, or this silicone rubber mat, or even in the alcohol itself that you clean the parts to get the resin off of, you can set all that stuff out in the sun or inside a curing station, and once it solidifies, then you're throwing away a safer solid rather than a sticky liquid. So take this cover off this, because this curing station actually does more than just curing. It's also a cleaning station. We've got the tank here. And, this tank has got used alcohol in it. That's why it's kind of a off color. And it also has a basket. And we can put the parts in the basket. And if you aren't in a rush, then you let this thing percolate. It's got a little spinner down in there, and it spins it around, agitates the alcohol, cleans everything. I'm going to need this old putty knife thing here in order to get the parts off. So you undo your knob on top, you got your build plate, and here are the parts. All that stuff in the inside is support material, which you're going to need to remove. And it's a lot cleaner to remove that stuff afterwards. What I'm going to try to do now is use this putty knife. And unfortunately, I don't think I can hold it so the camera can see. I'm going to have to hold it this way, sorry. Sometimes this requires a hammer. So basically what I was doing is I was taking the putty knife and I was shoving until I got the parts to come off. Which they did. And they're down down here in their slimy little world. I'm going to put them in the basket now, because they still have uncured resin on them, so they're all slimy and sticky and stuff. You need to clean all that off. So you can do that automatically if time is not a factor with this device. I'm in the clean mode. You can put in a time and hit a button. And I'm going to take these gloves off so that I can move the camera for you. So you can kind of see even through this dirty thinner, there's a spinner down there. And see how it is moving the alcohol around and everything. Well, after it's run in that direction for a while, the spinner stops, reverses, will go the other direction. Kind of changes speeds and slows and goes down. And the whole point of that is to clean all the non-cured resin off the part. Now, if a person's in a hurry, they can also, I can't see my viewfinder, I don't know what's in picture. They can also just take the basket and just do something like this, because I'm agitating. See, it's changing speeds right now. Now it's going the other way. This timer, you can set it for however much time you want to do it. But I'm going to move the basket and kind of speed things up a little bit here, for the sake of showing you how some of this stuff works. Okay. Put the old gloves back on here. Shut that. Shut the power off on that. So once you were done cleaning your parts, and I actually would want to clean these a little bit more, but what I'm trying to do right now is just kind of show you how all this stuff works. Put this plate down on there. I'm going to grab one of these parts. You actually kind of want to clean the excess alcohol off of the part. I'm going to go blow on this with the air compressor to get the alcohol off of that. Or at least most of it. So now you can see this is what we're talking about. Now we need to completely cure it. So to cure it, you would put it inside the machine. In reality, I would put them both in the machine. But let's save some time and just show you with the one for right now. You have to have the cover on the machine or it won't work when you go into UV mode. So push that down to cure. You would set in some time, 5-6 minutes. If it's real sunny outside, you can just take the part outside. Doesn't like the box. Like I say, it won't run unless it knows the lid's down. So, as you can see, what it's doing now is it's just spinning it around with those UV lights blaring on it, and that's going to completely cure the resin all the way. Once it's completely cured, then you can go into the part with your snips or X-Acto knife or whatever you're going to use to clean all the supports out to get to the finished part. What I have to do now is, and I'll do it off camera, is I have to clean all this stuff up. Any resin that's left over not used, I'm going to dump it back in wherever I put the resin bottles. They're over there. Dump the resin back in the bottles because it's expensive. Now this is just a generic gray resin. It's not really strong. It's, if you've ever worked with Bondo, it's basically just like Bondo. If you something this small, you could easily crush it and break it with your hand. Now they make more rigid ones, resins that are very strong, and they get really expensive for the really good stuff. So another way to look at this might be, well, what if I use a flexible resin? Because now they sell flexible ones too. That way, if the part gets bumped, since this is just an ornamental part, it would just flex and not break, and that'd be another way to go. And if I had some flexible resins here, I would have tried making them in that. But to buy flexible resins just to make 3 of these little parts is cost prohibitive. It's very expensive too. The generic gray is relatively expensive, but nowhere near as expensive as when you start getting into the really tough resins and the flexible resins. So this is what I got to work with, and I just thought it'd be nice to try it. In the end, we'll compare side by side the ones that are made with wire and soldered together the old-fashioned way, the ones that are 3D printed in resin. I'll show you why it's not a good idea to try to do this part on an FDM printer, which is a filament printer. And I'm in the process of working with another company, working on the price aspect of it to see if I can actually get them to 3D print in metal, in aluminum, some of these cages, so we can actually compare a metal 3D part to a resin 3D part, and we'll see how that goes. But right now I gotta finish cleaning all this mess up because it's smelly and sticky and I don't like it.